there, buddy. All right, so I am recording, and welcome DJ, and anyone else who decides to join us, and Dr. Robertson. DJ, is this the only time you've ever been the only one at the beginning?
No.
Really? All right. All right. Dr. Robertson is joining us tonight. He's going to talk a little bit about the PSYOP, the progress, and since DJ's here, you may want to, Dr. Robertson, talk a little bit about what to expect in 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and any kind of deadlines and timelines that may be coming along the way. And I am fully thinking that 1 or 2 others may join us before we get too far into this. So, Dr. Robertson?
Let me see if I can answer questions before they're asked.
Well, as I'm looking at it, Dr. Robertson, most everyone in the class has, except for one, has completed task 1, and almost everybody except 1 and 2 has completed task 2. So really, the bulk of the students are really looking at 3 and 4 and 5, and that might be where they might need some assistance. And this is going to be broadcast too. But I'm particularly interested in any timelines that you have to share.
The timeline I know of is when the final product is due in task stream for evaluation, which is April 11th, the way I see it. With the other items going to task stream, all the other things that I do with the interns by the 27th of April. So they need to step it up for sure. Like you were telling DJ just a moment ago, once you get to 3 and 4, this gets a whole lot easier because a lot of it is things you've done and you just put things back together. Like 3, the PSYOP outline goes back to your focus group project from Skip and Kat. No problem. You'll be fine with that. 4 is resource allocation evaluation. Also pretty simple, although this is one that I ask students to actually know what you're talking about fiscally, not just we need some money to do this. How much you need, where might be some places that you get it from, and what kind of human resources are also being taken care of. It's one thing to have a great plan. It's another thing to pay for it and have the people to stock it properly. And then when you get to 5, you're basically putting together a graphic organizer that.
Mark, let me add something about number 4 that I've noticed some in the. Can you not hear me, DJ? You can hear me, can't you?
Yeah.
Okay, Mark. Some of the things that Dr. Robertson, some of the things I've noticed in number 4 that I want to encourage DJ and anyone else who chooses to watch this later is that in that chart when they start doing that graphic organizer of here are the resources, I really am looking for dollar figures. I'm looking. I mean, even if it's understood that you have free people, that's just your Title I coordinator, there's an expense with that person, and moving someone from something they're already doing, there's going to be a dollar figure to it. So I'm really looking for, or I always do, and I know Dr. Robertson does too, is to look for an understanding that teachers cost. You just can't say we're going to move existing personnel, but there's a cost associated, or there's a cost to subs. So that might be a little extra, but that's one of the things that I've noticed that sometimes gets left out. And if I could speak to number 5 while I'm there too, Dr. Robertson, one of the other things that I've noticed that I like, now I really like this and others may not, but I really like it. I know it's a graphic organizer, and I've seen people turn in a graphic organizer, just here's a graphic organizer. What I really like, DJ, is a beginning, a kind of an opening paragraph of it, as if I am just cold out of the blue reading this. What exactly am I reading? So I'm looking for a little narrative at the beginning that kind of explains what's to come. And then I'm also looking at the very bottom is just a little closing paragraph of this is why I chose this is why it's important. Just a little kind of a wrapping it up. And to me, that'll help it flow when you start putting it all together. That's something I look for, but it's not really required because I think if you just do the graphic organizer, you can task stream, I think will take it. But for me, DJ, I just like that little introduction to it and a little closure.
I always recommend a little introduction, a little summary. Probably because I don't trust graphic organizers because I don't get them. I'm a learner that you give me an organizer, it's like, ask Dr. Sanders. I have asked people to go to her to see if their graphic organizers made sense with one class we did together. But 5 is the graphic organizer. You put them all together. Just like Dr. Stone, I'm absolutely sold on the fact that you need to have a little narrative at the beginning and at the end. So those of us who don't follow graphic organizers very well can understand what you're talking about. And then reflection in number 6, someone wrote me a note the other day and said, should I have met everything? And I said, this is the time that you toot your horn. This is like going for an interview. You're not going to say in an interview, oh, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. You have met the requirements, the competencies. Now it's time to show the information in that reflection that you have. Remember that all these have to go through Turnitin. Some of you choose to use my services to edit, and some of you don't, and that's fine. But Turnitin is required for everybody before it goes to TaskStream, so please do that. And then I'm going to have to say, while I've got the floor, I want to talk about some of the other requirements as you get close to graduation. The intern log, the competency folio, the dispositions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And my new favorite intern of all time is now Carrie Lentz, because she's been doing these little by little, piece by piece, which gives me a chance to really read it, really have a conversation with her. She's got putting together a tremendous competency folio, and I would love not to have everybody's competency folios in my box on April 27th, expecting them to get checked off in Howard TaskStream and graduation. So if you do a few, don't send me all 21 if you haven't done 21. Send me the few that you've done, and we'll work our way through. I've got time now. It's great. We went through all those the other day. She and I through back and forth emails, etc. The one thing I would say is be aware of the technology component of the competency folio. It's listed in the instructions. I'll need to be able to see that you've met that technology component as well as your 3 artifacts for your competency folio. If you have any questions, send me a note, send me your work, be happy to read it, be happy to comment on it, and get back with you as soon as I can. Dr. Stone, anything else you think we need?
DJ, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Do you have any questions for your colleagues who aren't with us tonight?
To be clear, you said all the PSYOP is due August the 11th? April the 11th?
It's supposed to be ready and going into TaskStream then.
Okay.
If it's rejected by TaskStream, then you need time to rewrite and redo it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And that means too, Dr. Robertson, that perhaps I need to go back and look at some of the timelines I put in on some of the projects, because I think I gave them a little bit longer based on what I thought, but we'll see.
I always have typically, because I think it's more important to do good work than to do it in some timely fashion that someone else created for you. But this is just making sure that they're in time for TaskStream to be able to work with it. And it's just the PSYOP. It's not all the other work products at all. Discussion boards, et cetera, can be later. I think I'm right. If I'm wrong, though, let me know, please.
Well, I don't have it in front of me, but if I find out, I'll shoot you an email tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. DJ, anything else before we let Mark go? Dr. Robertson?
No, that's it.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Robertson.
Okay. Good luck.
Have fun. All right, DJ, you and I. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What do you have on the docket for tonight?
All right, let me share. Why are you the only one? I don't think I've ever had this, that there's only one person here.
I don't know. The people, it's Thursday. They might have, had some type of after school activity tonight.
Well, that's true. It's a beautiful day too. All right. Well, let's look at a Blackboard, and because if it's just you and I, we'll probably finish up a little earlier unless you have a whole lot of questions, and don't tell on me for not giving you all your 45 minutes. Tonight we're on session 10. That means we only have 5 more sessions to come. And just real quickly, looking at session 10, what we are to do tonight. One of the couple of things Mark has done that there is a questionnaire on here, DJ. I really do want you and your colleagues, for those who come and watch this a little bit later on, but there's a really neat little and if we had more than just you and I, we would have done this tonight, or a little bit of it. But I don't know if you've looked at it or not, but there's a great survey here where you can kind of determine whether or not you're transactional or transformational. Remember, transactional means you're kind of a hands-on. You react a lot. Transformational means that you can transform. So anyway, look at that if you get a moment and take a chance to look at those two different leadership styles. The other thing there's a couple of other things under 10 that I wanted to share with you tonight. There is a transformational leadership survey, and I'm going to unlock this. But this is yet another way in which you can begin to understand what your particular leadership style is. To go ahead and take this, and there are 6 different types of leadership styles you can be: charisma, social, vision, transactional, delegation, or execution. And I think it will help you a lot when you begin to, when you move on into that principalship, DJ, which at some point you will soon, I hope. But it also, DJ, this is also something good that if you work with a team of teachers in your team, it might be nice at one of your next team meetings to kind of let everybody do this, so you can kind of get a feel if there are 4 people in your team, where the strengths of the team members are, because each of them has some strengths. All right. So DJ, that's the other thing. And there is a VARC, which is let me open this one while I remember it. There's a VARC survey here as well that would be kind of interesting to watch. And the last thing I want to do is to talk about program evaluation, and you and I will move through this quickly, buddy, unless you have a whole lot of questions, and that will be all I have for you tonight. I'll stick around, but you certainly don't have to. All right. Just in case somebody joins me a little bit later. But as you become a principal, DJ, and I'm just going to walk through this and talk basically to you, but when you become that principal, that assistant principal, you're going to be doing program evaluations, and that's going to be an important part of what you do as an administrator. Because when you get into your first school, are you elementary, middle, or high school, DJ?
Elementary.
Yeah, but what do you want?
I want elementary, but I have an interest in middle school as well.
I think you do well in middle, but I think you do well in elementary too. But middle school would be a fun one for you. When you get that first middle school, DJ, you're going to find that there are probably the first week or so when you're in that building, teachers are going to come to you and they're going to say, hey, DJ, or they won't call you DJ, can we look at this particular program? We've been doing this for 10 years. It's not working. Can we look at something different? And what you're going to hear from your staff is that their plates are full. And if you come into a new school, because I'm sure at your school, your plate's full. But when you come into a new school, after you've gotten a lay of the land, one of the things that you really need to do is to look at whether or not things are working. And if there's some programs not working, then get rid of them, and your teachers will love you. I can assure you, DJ, the first thing, if you get rid of some program that they've been doing forever and a day that may or may not be effective, they will love you for it. They will also consequently not like you if you come in with 4 or 5 new things to put on their plate without taking away something else. So that's why program evaluation is very important. And it really is collecting information about a program just to make sure that you're making the right decisions about it. There are so many different ways to do it, and you can either do it as an organization, and this is what you would do probably as a program when you go into your school. You would look at individual programs. Because what you will discover, as you already know now, DJ, is that that money is tight, and you're not going to get a whole lot of money from the central office when you move to that middle school and you decide you want to try something new and exciting for your students at the middle school. You're gonna say, well, you got to do it with what you got, and right. What you got, DJ, is nothing. Trust me, you're not. No matter what school district you work in, you're not going to get a lot of extra resources from the district. They're going to give you exactly what they think you need. And so you're going to be looking at your drink money. You're going to be looking at your athletic receipts. You're going to be looking at PTA money to supplement some of the new things you want to do. So that's why it's important that you make sure you get rid of that old stuff that you don't need anymore, because that's where you might be able to save some money and the district will be able to support you with it. They're not going to give you new people, but if you retool people and you give them different positions, that's to help to your program. All right, so I'm going to skip over that kind of stuff and get right down to some of the types of evaluation. This is open to you, but some of the ways in which you can evaluate a program, and this is something that has to be done over a couple of months, not necessarily in a day or two, in a week or two, but you can use the surveys, the questionnaires. You can do personal interviews, which is what I would highly recommend when you get into your first school. Do that. Do the personal interviews. They'll love you for it, and they'll listen. They'll know that you're listening to them. However, DJ, if you are doing personal interviews and they tell you stuff and you don't do it, you owe them an explanation of why you don't. Because if people keep telling you to do this, and this, and you decide not to do it, and you don't tell them, then automatically you've lost some of your credibility because you don't listen to them. So the answer that they're going to get a lot from you is, I can't do it, but here's why. And don't blame the central office. Just, don't blame, the superintendent doesn't support me or the central office doesn't support me. It's just saying that we can't get any additional funds, because a lot of times if the teachers really, really want that program and you want it, they'll say, well, let's talk about it in ways in which we can incorporate with what we've already got. You can do the developmental review and observation, of course. You can do focus groups or case studies. But the bottom line is that whatever methods you use, and you can use several of them, go in considering what kind of information you need, how you're going to use the information. And the other key point here, too, is to make sure, DJ, that you have chosen to get information from a cross-section of people. Don't just go to the 5th grade or to the 6th grade. Don't just go to the English teachers or the math teachers. Even though it may be a math program you're looking at, those English teachers are going to have to buy in, as well as those elective teachers are going to have to be a part of that, too. So make sure you involve everyone, and then let's see if we can get to it. And then once those results come back, make sure that if you are having a school improvement team, make sure you involve them in the process of evaluating and being a part of that information too. It leaves some great information. Some of the things you don't want to do, don't ask very specific questions or questions that you're not going to be able to use. Understand nothing's perfect. Understand also that if you use questionnaires and surveys are anonymous. You're going to get the people that don't like you. You're going to get the outliers, or the people who just think you walk on water. But because it is anonymous, sometimes people hide behind anonymous surveys. Same way for questionnaires. So the absolute best thing to do, I think, is those personal interviews or observations. Don't throw it away once the results have been done. Make sure you go back and share that with your staff. All right. DJ, what else do you and I need to talk about tonight before I let you go early?
When you said you like to do the interviews,
yeah.
And I feel like that would be the most beneficial thing to do. How do you group that information and present it to your staff to let them know their opinion?
Well, first of all, you'll be the facilitator, so you're not the scribe. So you'll need to maybe have your secretary or someone, a support staff, come in and be the scribe. And I would recommend, let's just say you're at a middle school. I'd recommend that whoever has, to kind of shake it up, whoever has their first block free, bring all those in at the same time. Don't do individual interviews, because that could be one, it's probably not as productive. People are so threatened by that one-on-one with the administrator. So I'd recommend whoever has block one, come on in, let's sit and let's talk, and then have a scribe taking notes. And, it's best to do this soon when you're there, so it's not something that they figure that you're married to, that they can't necessarily talk about this particular program. And then once you get all those results, it could be the flip charts or the charts that you put up, the paper you put on the side of the wall when people write stuff down. And that's a very good way too, because that's semi-anonymous. It's not me raising my hand and saying, DJ, I want to share this. But that board, that paper on the wall, gives them a chance to kind of go around, and it's a little bit of anonymous because they're not directly responding to you, but it is within the group. And then once you got all that together, and once you've met with the block 2, block 3, block 4, put all of it, combine it all together, and shoot it back out to the staff and say, look, I'm going to give you this for a week, review it, look at it. Next time we get together in the next staff meeting, we're going to have a really good conversation about it and see where we need to go with it. That's the best way. But make sure everything, even if they have something wild and crazy on there, it's an outlier, and most people will understand that, but put it out there and let people look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, it is still you and I, so I am going to stick around until about 6:30 if you have some more questions. But I do want to comment, you really are doing well on your SIAP, so I know your break's coming up, but go ahead and knock off that 3. That's the next hard one. And then the 4 and the 5 really are smaller, and they really, and if you want to shoot it to me in an email, let me look at it before it goes in for grade. But if you send something in for grade, you can resubmit it as many times as you want.
Okay. I'll try to work on that and have that in by Saturday.
Yeah. Now, are you coming here to graduate?
I am.
Good deal.
All
right. I know Dr. Sanders will look forward to seeing you.
I know. I'm so happy to see her.
She speaks highly of you.
That's my friend.
All right, DJ. I will see you next week.
All right.
Take care. Have a great break. Have a great afternoon.
Okay, you do the same. Over here.
I cannot believe this. So, Oh, All right.